this is a keeper of a recipe for me.
It's something that you would see in Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic during Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Hi, I'm Kanchan, and today I'm going to be making a spice-delicious Indian-inspired rack of lamb with a Middle Eastern twist.
I'm JJ Johnson. We're gonna spice it up a little bit. The lamb, I'm bringing pasteles. It's a little bit of plantain masa, some ground beef. It's gonna be super tasty.
The recipe that I chose to make today has been a family favorite, except I created an interesting twist. My grandma used to use white poppy seeds for richness and creaminess, and I honestly couldn't find those here, so I decided to substitute cashews for that same creamy, luxurious effect. Most North Indian recipes involving any kind of meat usually use a nut or a seed for richness. I just love how this dish represents my grandmother, the cultural and historical lens through which she cooked, and how I can put that on my modern family table and still honor her is a really special offering for my family. So a lot of Northern Indian meat dishes and meat curries are influenced by the Persian culinary perspective because of all these amazing historical influences that India experienced. So this dish, I would say, is something we call a Mughlai dish because it has yogurt, it has all those rich spices, and it has the creaminess of the nuts. The sumac is not really a spice that we use in India, but I love it and I think it goes so beautifully with lamb. For me, Thanksgiving is definitely about the food, but it's also about family and friends coming together around the feast and really being able to dive in. That's why I love this rack of lamb. It's just so amenable to sharing family style, literally licking your fingers as you eat it. I just love the idea of celebrating food through a historical lens. For me, the fact that I can put this dish that represents my grandmother, her cultural perspective on my family table just makes it a really rich moment where we can honor our cultural and culinary traditions.
My recipe today is called pasteles. It's something that you would see in Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. It is similar to a tamale with plantains and yuca and butternut squash. It's something that you will see in anyone's freezer of a Puerto Rican or a Dominican during Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's a ritual, something we all have and we all look forward to eating. This dish is super special to my heritage. I would see my grandmothers and my great aunts making this in the fall season and freezing it in the freezer. It truly meant that it was becoming that special time of the year when family was coming together. I consider myself a real child of the African diaspora. My dad is African American, my mom is Puerto Rican and West Indian. Through the holidays, certain dishes on the table would define who we are as a culture. Thanksgiving and Christmas, we would always have pasteles on the table, and that would always remind us that we were from the Puerto Rican descent. And this was something that you really wouldn't buy in a grocery store or something that you would get at a restaurant. This is something that you know grandmas and aunties were making across the globe. As I'm cooking the pastela, it's truly bringing me back to my childhood moments in life. The holiday season for me is always a big time of the year. You know, being a chef for Thanksgiving, I've always been in a restaurant cooking. Now that I have children, I cherish these moments with them. It means a lot to have big table with a lot of family and friends eating around that table, and considered to me some of the best moments in life. So my spices, some are traditional and some are untraditional. In the meat mixture, I'm using za'atar spice, ginger powder, and coriander, and a little bit of hot spices. You're getting the real JJ swag through your pastela. I chose za'atar because I'd spent some time in Israel and I fell in love with the spice, but especially how it's in ground beef or ground meats. I think it goes really beautiful with plantains, all the aromas, the strong flavor of it. So I just wanted to highlight it in this recipe. I've traveled to the melting pots of the world, Singapore, Israel, Ghana and West Africa, India, and I've seen a correlation of how people have been able to move and then mix and mingle and incorporate flavors together, and you see that through my cooking. The folding technique of the pasteles is you really want to get in a rectangle. So what I do, I put the plantain masa in the middle, carve out a little section to add my meat filling, and then I fold, then I tie with butcher's twine. So you want to wrap the pastela the same way you would wrap a ribbon around a present. I prefer not to tie the pasteles. I'm just not good with the butcher's twine. This is also a great dish to make with your family. You can line the banana leaves across the table and somebody can pour in the plantain masa, somebody else can put in the filling, and then you can have somebody fold, and then whoever's really good at making ribbons can tie the pasteles. When you get your pastela on the table, it's wrapped in the banana leaf. You untie it personally. I want to fill the table with family members so they can truly have this joyous moment. This is finger licking good.
Just what I like to hear. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Oh, yes.